The cognitive bias paradox. Knowing cognitive biases can worsen them. Knowing cognitive biases can worsen them. Paradoxically, detailed knowledge of cognitive biases such as confirmation bias and cognitive dissonance provides a powerful set of tools to reinforce these very biases and dismiss data, evidence, and even direct personal experiences that contradict our preconceived ideas and prejudices. In practice, one thinks, I am one of the special, intelligent, educated elite who are well aware of the cognitive biases. Knowing the biases, I'm able to compensate them, for example, through steel-manning my opponent's arguments. In contrast, the data or evidence from any third party contradicting my evidence-based beliefs is clearly the product of cognitive biases X, Y, and Z, leading to cherry-picking of evidence, faulty statistical methodologies, or other mistakes. That personal experience that contradicts my evidence-based belief is a special case, a fluke, a coincidence, the product of some perceptual error, such as the well-known phenomenon cited by skeptics of misperceiving the rising moon, Venus, Jupiter, lighthouses, or other conventional objects as a silvery flying saucer, or some other perceptual or cognitive flaw mined from the literature or made up as needed. Of course, you don't think that last phrase, mined from the literature or made up as needed. This is due in part to the so-called G.I. Joe fallacy. Knowing about one's biases does not always allow one to overcome those biases, a phenomenon referred to as the G.I. Joe fallacy or the G.I. Joe phenomena. Here's a white paper on it from Ariel Crystal at Harvard Business School and Laurie Santos of Yale University. And they also have a short Khan Academy video that you can watch. More generally, social psychology studies have several times shown, that knowledge of cognitive biases does not immunize you to them. Now, knowledge of these cognitive biases has increased substantially in the last few decades. The use of phrases such as cognitive bias, confirmation bias, and cognitive dissonance has grown dramatically in the last 20 years, as shown by Google's Ngram viewer above. Indeed, if you follow many political or scientific controversies in recent decades, it is likely you will have heard these phrases used to dismiss the data, evidence, opinions, and even direct personal experiences of the, quote, other side, unquote, in these debates. By most accounts, the phrase cognitive dissonance entered general use from the publication of the popular science book, When Prophecy Fails, a social and psychological study of a modern group that predicted the destruction of the world, by Leon Festinger, Henry Riken, and Stanley Schachter in 1956, and a more scholarly book, A Theory of Cognitive Dissonance by Leon Festinger in 1957. So you can see this is about 1956-57. It flattens out after about 1970 for a long time, and over the last 30 years has gone up substantially. As you can also see a marked growth in the use of the terms confirmation bias and cognitive bias. How has this affected actual discourse? Here we can see the rapidly increasing polarization politically in the United States. It certainly doesn't seem to have made it better, and everybody thinks everybody else is more closed-minded, dishonest, immoral, etc. This is from the Pew Research Center. In fact, this wider awareness of cognitive bias does not appear to have improved the quality of logical argument or debate. Quite the opposite, if anything, with censorship and thought-stopping labels such as conspiracy theory, conspiracist, conspiracy theorist, conspiracy thinking, even conspiracy, used as a shorthand for conspiracy theory in the pejorative, non-literal sense, has become ubiquitous. Denialism or denier in the Holocaust denial sense, fake news, misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation proliferating. More and more people may simultaneously believe that their knowledge of cognitive biases makes them immune to error while dismissing the views of others as hopelessly wrong due to their unrecognized cognitive biases. Is there anything we can do about this growing problem? Paradoxically, simply knowing that detailed knowledge of cognitive biases can actually aggravate these biases is not enough. Knowing is not even half the battle. It is unclear what will actually work. Modern technologies and systems, such as the internet as a whole, smartphones and Twitter, can bombard us with huge quantities of often emotional, propagandistic content. Scaling back the quantity of this content may be helpful. Going through the, quote, news, unquote, and other content one consumes, systematically striking out the many popular thought-stopping words and phrases such as conspiracy theory, and ironically especially invoking cognitive bias, cognitive dissonance, confirmation bias, and related phrases, leaving hopefully a small set of alleged facts, not opinion or analysis, may help us drill down to the substance of the content. Common thought-stopping words and phrases today. I'm just going to give a few and not go through the whole list. Pseudoscience has been around for a long time. Climate denial, various other kinds of denial, anti-anything, anti-vaccine, anti-science, anti-Semitism, coarse conspiracy theory, and remarkably enough, paradoxically, cognitive bias, confirmation bias, cognitive dissonance, and notably cherry-picking data or evidence, etc., which is a quickie way to dismiss evidence that happens to contradict your preferred views. The reader can probably list several more from their own experience. It's easier to identify thought-stopping words and phrases that you disagree with. A general procedure is to edit out thought-stopping words and phrases, edit out other emotional words and phrases. Identify the remaining factual or logical claims in the article, video, etc. Check the facts yourself. Don't rely on so-called fact checkers. Locate the original source or citation of the supposed fact. Verify what the original source or citation says in the body of that source or article. Don't rely on abstract summaries, titles, or headlines, which can be highly exaggerated or even totally false. Note that Wikipedia relies on secondary sources. Track down the primary original sources of anything in Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not reliable on controversial subjects. Time and again, pages are somehow taken over by interest groups, one side or the other of some dispute. It often appears more and more that these are the people with the most money or political power. Check sources of funding, possible conflicts of interest, or biases of any authors or publishers of these sources. Verify the claimed, quote, facts, unquote, through personal experience if possible. Discriminate between the facts you can verify with your own experience, which is, in many cases, many supposed facts you see in the news or popular science articles or scientific articles you can't verify in this way. You can't do an experiment in your kitchen or garage. Understand what you can't verify and you don't really know from direct experience or experimentation. Check the logic of the arguments for yourself. Make a list of alternate interpretations of the, quote, facts, unquote. Remember the parable of the blind men and the elephant. Check for rebuttals to the factual or logical claims from other sources. Repeat the process I've just gone through in evaluating these rebuttals. Also, you may wish to read The Worldview Prison, another article that I've done on this difficult topic. This concludes this video presentation. If you like this video, please click like. Please click subscribe and the notification bell if you would like to receive more content from us. You can avoid internet censorship by subscribing directly to our RSS news feed. Please consider sharing the link by email and on your website or blog, in addition to liking, upvoting, or sharing on increasingly censored, advertising-beholden, big company social media. We have encountered such censorship. Mathematical software is developing algorithms and software to automate data analysis, reducing the risks of costly errors and increasing the predictive power of the results. You can support our work financially by subscribing on our Patreon page, https://www.patreon.com/mathsoft, or scanning the QR code in the lower right corner.